And I think we are live. We are live. We've hit the live button, Stig.
Oh my goodness.
So
We
I
better
think
get this out.
there's probably a little bit of a delay, a few seconds, but I think we'll just give people maybe just a few more seconds to get on
Absolutely.
and get the questions in the chat. So welcome to those that are just getting logged on now. Get comfortable. Get into that chat window. Start getting your questions in there for Stig and myself. I can see that we're live. If someone can just go into the comments section and say, I can see you, that would be really helpful. Just to say, I can see you and I can hear you. And we'll just wait for another moment or two. Stig, I'm very jealous of where you are. I'm in England. It's grey. It's cloudy. It's, it's not Dubai.
Well, yeah, it's been lovely. I've been out at sea all day, actually, hours and hours of wakeboarding. So if I have a red nose, I apologize already. But just feeling great and fresh, and just all this salt water almost still on me. So,
so jealous.
yeah, I'm here in the Dubai Marina. If nobody knows, I moved here, but probably some people have been here and can kind of recognize this iconic pool here. But this is where I'm staying now, rented this long term. So lots of opportunities here and quite open, comparing to many other countries at least. So that's wonderful to be able to go out more freely and just keep continuing living.
Yes.
But yeah, give me the numbers. Hopefully people are joining us.
I've just switched the view, so I think people can see both of us now. I think we've got around 52 people, which is amazing. Guys, this is my first live stream. I'm going to do an introduction in a second. We'll just give it another 30 seconds or so.
Yeah.
I can see that we've got MPB from Switzerland. We've got Rudy here from Holland. Frederick, I can see you. Thank you, Frederick, for letting us know. Kelly, hello from California. Wow, got people from everywhere. Schwender, I can see and hear both of you. Thank you for that confirmation. Veronica, hello. Haggin Laundry, hello. Young at any age, my friends Bob and Fran. Stig, I did a podcast a couple of weeks ago with Bob and Fran. Bob and Fran are both in their 80s. They're vegan and they're living life to the full. And they're on the podcast now as leaving some messages. So hello, guys. It's nice to see you on here as well.
That is really the fun thing about this Q&A and live, right? Because you are actually live here now. It's like almost like you can touch people.
Yeah.
It's a new world, but it's fun because you get the questions. And I used to actually ask people to write in the chat. Now you could see maybe the country, but I often ask them just to write the country or city they're in.
Yeah.
Because that shows us that it's a global audience. We're all in this together. And it's just a fun way to start kind of to warm up, and people can get engaged, with the conversation. They can engage in the conversation, and we can respond and say, oh, this guy from Norway, or hey, this lady from California, and tie a little story to it, but also just like a warm-up to get something going. Exactly. While people are logging in. Just to let you know, we also send out emails to hundreds of thousands of people from our list, from our email list. So hopefully in the next 5-10 minutes, we'll actually see a boost. And I put it on some different Facebook pages. That was what I was doing just before when I had my eyes down. So, but anyways, the people that were here in time should have full benefits. So maybe in 1 minute, we should just start and say,
yeah, we can get started. Yes,
sure, you're going to see that curve going up.
That's it. Another 60 seconds. Yeah, I've got somebody from the UK here. I'm going to say name wrong. Anomi Domi. Deb, cold and wet UK. Deb, I feel you. Amos in Vancouver. Oh, I'd love to go to Vancouver. Joanne from Los Angeles.
Might be a friend of mine. Who knows? I have a friend called Amos Stern.
Amos Stern, yes, Vancouver.
Oh, yeah. My goodness, Amos, my brother of the heart. I traveled with him in Israel. We went into caves, and back to what I said about the Q&A and the live, right?
Yeah.
If you don't know where people are from, because Amos is a bit of a special name, I guess Jewish name. So if you didn't know that, and you said that with Canada, it could have been 10,000 other people from Canada. Hey, yeah. Amos, didn't see this guy in, I don't even know, 15 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We've got Joanne from Los Angeles, Ben Gu from Geneva, Prime Rally in China. Another person from Dubai, Avas Iqbal, says hello from Dubai. So you might be close to you.
Who knows? Yeah. Iqbal, I've heard that name. Maybe in Instagram I've seen him or something. It sounds familiar.
Iqbal. Yeah, Paul Ludin from Oregon. Michael from super short notice. Yeah, so yeah, we've got you on, Michael. Thank you. Hello from Sweden. Yeah, all sorts. Oh, hello from Poland. Chester, Poland. Poland. My limited Sweden. Polish.
Hallo, hejsan svejsan i Lingonskogen. I'm Swedish, you know, I'm half Swedish. My mom's
somebody
Swedish.
says, hi Stig, I participated in one of your workshops in Osterbro in Copenhagen. I hope you are well. And that's Michael Herman.
Yeah. We do some workshops I call like Breatheology Expand, where we obviously expand the mind, but also the lungs and our mindset. So we do some exercises. They're day workshops. They're just short little 6 hours.
Wonderful. So I'll do my best to read the comments. Guys, this is the first time. I'm going to get stuck into introductions now. We've got 100 people here, which is bonkers. So let me do a little introduction, which I prepared earlier. Welcome to Take a Deep Breath. This is the first live breathcast that we've done. Hello to all of my audience and the Breatheology audience. My name is Mike Mayer. I'm the creator of Take a Deep Breath and the creator of Breathcast, which is a dedicated breathing podcast. And for those of you that are new here, Take a Deep Breath is a YouTube community that I think yesterday hit 75,000 subscribers, which is crazy. I'm so grateful. And we are a community. We've got about 150 videos on YouTube dedicated to breathing exercises and interviews with breathing experts. And that's through the Breathcast. If you're new here, if you would hit the subscribe button and the like button, that'd be fantastic. If you put your comments in, I'll do my best to get to them today as well. And for those of you that are watching this later, thank you. And this will be left up online. So if you miss anything today or you have to nip and go to the toilet, you can come back and you can rewatch this at some point. Stig was live with us, not live. We recorded the podcast, I think, on the Friday of the previous week.
Something.
And it went live on the Sunday.
That's right. That's right.
And it was one of my most viewed podcasts to date, Breathcast. I think we've had over 6,000 views now on all the things that went out there and the audio version stuff, which is really, really high. And you guys seem to absolutely love it. I've had lots of questions come to me. So we're going to be talking to Stig again today, but this time people thought it was live last week, I think. So they had a lot of questions and we couldn't get to them. So we're going to do some of that today. We also last week talked about Stig's instructor course and people were asking a bit about that. So we are going to talk about that today. And Stig's got a bit of a surprise and a bit of a gift maybe on that as well. So we're going to touch on the Breatheology course, which I think goes live next week, Stig. Is that right?
Yeah, next Sunday. Now, like this time next Sunday. So
we'll get stuck into that as well. So stick through till the end. We're going to run for about an hour. So it's 8 minutes past 5 in the UK here. So we'll run for about another 50 minutes. We'll see how things go if you keep us busy with questions. So let me introduce Stig for those of you that don't know. So Stig, I'm going to apologize now for getting any of this wrong. You can correct me. But we've got Stig Severinsen here, Danish, freediving world champion times 4 times, Guinness Book of World Records, founder of Breatheology, author of the best-selling book, Breatheology, The Art of Conscious Breathing. He's a coach, he's a mentor, and he's an explorer. Stig, you've got a degree in biology and a PhD in medicine. So I feel very, very fortunate to get to talk to you again. And I believe you began experimenting with your breath holding as a child at the bottom of your parents' pool. And as I was doing my research, you started swimming at the age of 6 and you were the national champion 4 years in a row. I can't swim very well. I didn't tell you that last time, but I need some swimming tips. You've achieved 2 Guinness World Records in 2010. In March that year, he swam 236 feet, 72 meters under ice, wearing only swimming trunks and goggles. And I didn't know this, but you exceeded Wim Hof's record of March 2000 by 47.6 feet, which is about 14.5 meters. And in the April, after inhaling pure oxygen, which I'll be interested to talk to you about in a sec, actually, you held your breath for 20 minutes and 10 seconds in a tank full of sharks, which
you got to do something. I got to get time to go by. That's correct.
In May 2012, I'm doing well so far. In May 2012, you were awarded the record for the longest time breath held voluntary by the Guinness World Records, and that was for 22 minutes, and that was achieved in a tank in London, and the water was cooled to about -1. And just last year, in 2020,
that's just not your fault. We have to clear that up somewhere.
Go for it.
People mix the ice record with that thing. So obviously, I didn't hold my breath for 22 minutes in -1 degree water. So there was some journalist messed it up. I think it's in Wikipedia. So just to clear that, it was in the UK, it was in London, not far from you, I guess. But it was just completely normal water. You can also see it on Guinness World Records, like on YouTube. It's just a normal heated pool. It's a diving facility, actually. Some very professional divers helped us and set it all up. It's a big thing to set it up with safety and everything. But anyways, keep going. It was just a normal temperature.
Okay.
But it was 22 minutes. I was crowned the ultimate superhuman on that dive by Discovery Channel. So that was another official Guinness World Record. I actually did one the year before that was 21 on History Channel on Stan Lee's Superhumans. If you know Stan Lee, this wonderful man who passed last year, with the Fabulous Four and Spider-Man and like all these comics. So I was on his show. But anyways, no minus degrees, but not on that one. But anyways, keep going, Mike. You're doing great.
For some reason, that makes it more impressive, because I would think that in the cold it would make it easier for some reason. I don't know why. So the fact that it was normal water. So you just mentioned the Discovery Channel. I think we've mentioned on there as well. There's a Superhuman Showdown documentary, and I think you were in a documentary called Stig Severinsen, The Man Who Doesn't Breathe. And you've got 2 TED Talks to your name: Breath Holding is the New Black, and How to Hold Your Breath for 20 Minutes. So Stig, welcome to the first live Breathcast. It's an absolute pleasure and an honor, and I'm very, very humbled to have you here. And it's a lovely opportunity, I think, for the audience as well to get closer, ask you some questions, because it's not always that easy to get people live. So I think it's, this is completely free, and we get to ask you questions and get stuck in. So
I'm excited. The honor is actually all on my side, because you have done such a great preparation, Mike, and I love interacting with people. Like I mentioned in the beginning, when you get to hear them, or like I can reconnect with this old good friend I had, travel buddy Amos, and just all these new people that I'm befriending, or at least getting to know now, and then to share something about yourself. So maybe as a little cliffhanger, we should say that I kind of dragged you out of the closet. No pun intended, and not to be misunderstood, but I came up with the idea that maybe we should try to get to know a bit about Mike Maher, or Meher, or Maher, or Meher. You can explain how many different ways you can pronounce your last name, but or mayor, as it's said in England, like the mayor of some town. But I think it would be interesting for your audience to know, who is this great guy behind the microphone, and who's this guy doing all this research and just so passionate about breathing, and really spending so much time every week to share knowledge and information and great podcasts and interviews. So I'll be doing a bit of an interview with you, and no tricky questions, but I think it's fun that we both share and give a bit of our personal life, if that makes sense.
I think it's important. And people have known I've shared a lot about Wim Hof on here, but there's other things as well. So I'm looking forward to being interviewed by you a little bit, Stig. So thank you. And as I think I said at the start, would I have done this live podcast today? Probably not. So thank you for being that kind of coach and mentor. We've had a couple of conversations about that. So let's get stuck in. So guys, I can see there's so many comments here. So I'm wondering how we're going to find the questions. I've already got a few that people put on one of the posts. So let me get that, and that'll at least get us.
Let's get those out of the way.
Okay. So let me just hit refresh on here. Okay. So first question from Mike, which is not me, but another Mike, is Stig, I would like to hear about some exercises for freeing up the diaphragm.
Great question. Oh my goodness, we should have waited a little bit. I'm almost not warmed up, like I said.
Do you want to come back to that? Do you want to do the warm up first?
I would rather do.
That's fine.
Not like warm up, but I would rather. I'll not forget it. But I think we should get going to just some. We'll get back to that. Let's put it, because I have all my equipment.
Okay.
I have all my training kit here and my equipment and all my personal stuff that I love to share with people how I train. But let's do that when we got through like 5-10 questions.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. More towards the end.
Okay. As a recommended daily practice, what is it? What are your practices looking like, and what kind of results have you seen from them? So I guess people are wanting to know what you do.
Yeah, well, that goes under that category. We'll bundle that in the end. Not like a cliffhanger, but just it's more practical. I have to put down the computer, But in a very short answer, it's just consistency. Compounding effect. If you do it a little bit every day, it's kind of adding up. You get better balance, you get stronger, you get a more flexible diaphragm, your intercostal muscles get stronger, you get more stamina, your natural breathing becomes more smooth and more sophisticated, and you take that with you into sleep and sport and everything you do, your thinking, your everyday job, the way you respond to things. So that was kind of an overall answer to that. And then we can get to some specific exercises, which I absolutely love to share. But let's do that after, when I put the computer down.
Okay. Yeah, because that was one thing that people were asking for last week, was some exercises. So I think we'll get stuck into that. Okay. So Deb Ashton asks, something to help with lack of focus and concentration due to lockdown brain.
Okay. That is a very relevant question, I think, for, I don't even know, millions of people. Great question. Breathing is king. I always say this, breathing is king. And it means many things, but it means that breathing is the king of life. It's our thread, you know, that runs from the first breath when we're born till the last exhale, when we pass to the next journey or whatever we do. But if you have like a foggy brain or lockdown brain or something, you know, if you can go back to breathing, you always have a reset point. So like everyone listening now, maybe they have it in the ear as a podcast, maybe they're watching us like with the eyes visually, but no matter what's happening around you, you can always take the control back to breathing. And if I should say one big secret of yoga, of meditation, of all these Eastern philosophies, there are many different religions and societies, and I know, but mainly in yoga as we know it, in more modern times, the main focus is from yoga meditation and mindfulness is to be balanced and centered, both in your nervous system, in the two parts of your brain. And with breathing, why I say breathing is king, it's because you take the control back to your own life. And you cannot breathe for yesterday, you cannot breathe for tomorrow, you can only breathe here and now. And that is why it's such a wonderful reminder of your presence in this world. It's a reminder of how you're feeling, how you're doing, how you're performing, how your body is acting and reacting. So breathing is, I used to call it like a truth, a barometer. It's like a lie detector, you know?
Yeah.
You can't fake breath. You cannot fake it. It is so deeply ingrained into your nervous system. It's such a fine, delicate part of your nervous system that you can't fake it. So if you feel uneasy or like this lady, COVID brain fog, or feels a bit, I would say maybe stressed or frustrated, or maybe even feeling some fear at moments, you know, for the uncertainty, for the future. With breathing, at least when you take breathing back to yourself, you're completely 100% in control of your own life. You take the control back to your situation. So it's not the government locking down something. It's not your kids not going to school. In that very moment, in that same breath, you're in full control of your life. And when you start to both, reflect on that, but also start to practice it, become the breath, you know, we can all do it together now. We're all at, I guess, hundreds now joining, and then the people watching it later. We can all breathe together right now. So inhaling with the nose, slight pause on the top, little smile, and then a slow exhale with the mouth and little sound. Shoulders come down, that's right. Keep the sound. Little smile. Your skin becomes soft. You lower the jaw. You just soften that strong muscle here, that chewing muscle. And then we already feel this release, and we're landing now. So that's the fourth phase. So inhale, stop, exhale, stop, and then we start inhaling again. That was one round. Come to the top, and then on the exhale, we make this little sound either with our lips or the tongue. And that makes a long, slow exhale. And we let the shoulders down, and we let us go into the deep, relaxed state on the exhale. I call it relax on demand. This is what I teach the Navy SEALs and the Royal Air Force and all these elite athletes that I train. So now you took 2 breaths, Mike, 2 single breaths. You can't redo them. Your life has passed. They're gone. But you did them well, and you did them with focus. And without knowing you, without have ever met you, except we have had some great conversations the last few days, you didn't think about your phone bill. You didn't think about where you screwed up at work 3 weeks ago. You know, you're present in this moment. And that's what I mean by breathing is king. It gives you this warrior breath. It gives you this warrior mind of being in control of your life. And you know, when we're stressed or we are fearful, it's because we are losing control. I have a very hectic life, and I own different companies, and I travel to many different countries. Even now with COVID, you know, I just came from Denmark, before that Mexico, and I might go to the Seychelles or Maldives next week. So I travel within what I can do, what I'm allowed to do, right? Even so, I don't get stressed in those situations because I'm still in control. So I think many people misunderstand a little bit about being stressed, you know, or what you could probably call burnout in English or in the UK, right? You have a burnout.
Yes.
Many times that doesn't come because you're working a lot. if you're passionate about what you do, if you're like saying love with, you know, a new lover, a new, you know, friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, there is no limitation on what you can do. You can stay up all night for many different reasons, and you're fresh in the morning and you're happy. And when you're in love, and when you're in love with someone or with something like a project, or, you know, building a new house or getting a new puppy or something, you're on fire, you never get sick. You never get sick or tired, you know. It's when you put down the guard, it's when you have finished some big job or an exam, or, you know, some a very difficult relationship or something, then you kind of break down.
Yes.
So what many people call burnout, I think it's because they're losing control. It's not because they're working too much. They're working too much and too many things, and they totally forget about breathing, that they have a friend right under the nose that can always calm them down and bring them into this, what we're doing here, parasympathetic part of the nervous system. Let's just call it rest and digest.
Yes,
Rest and digest, but I call it relax on demand. And the reason why the exhale is so important is because, so we come a bit to the diaphragm actually. So I'll actually be stripping here now, okay, but that's fine. I've been out on the water all day, so I've probably got a bit of a tan. But the point is, when you breathe in, fat belly, little bit of a pause, but then you hold it and then you breathe out, and then you see my diaphragm.
Yeah.
I lift it a little bit more to exaggerate, but the point is your diaphragm lifts up close to your heart. That is where it sleeps. The natural neutral position for your diaphragm is on an exhale. So one thing I always tell people, and I know, Mike, you have interviewed so many of the world's greatest experts on breathing, but I bet you no one has told you that breathing is stressful. To be
no,
a little bit,
you were the first person that I've heard that said that. Yes,
yeah.
that's true. Yeah,
and it's true that I said that, but it's also true. So it actually kind of sums up this question from this lady, this very important question. You know, inhaling is stressful.
Yes.
Why? You can look at it. I'm doing it like kind of exaggerating, right? Or the very wrong way. We can all say in a chorus, what is the wrong way? With the mouth, you know. Dry air, dry throat, breathing with the shoulders and the chest instead of the belly.
Yes.
So when people are mouth breathers, they are chest breathers. Obviously, they're going to put more strain on the heart. That means the heart rate goes up. That means they produce adrenaline. That means they feel stressed because physiologically, biochemically, they are stressed by adrenaline, by this stress hormone. That means that the blood pressure shoots up. That means that the brain thinks something is wrong. I'm on alert. And that brings this negative spiral of long-term stress that is very dangerous. We all know this from some points in our lives.
Yes.
But it's because we're losing control. We're losing control of coming back to our nervous system, of losing control of our natural balanced state between the stress system and the relaxed system. And with breathing, we can come back to that. So it's a very good question from this lady. And maybe if I can do a little not a sales pitch, but a little advertisement. We have given this Corona program that we soon have 400,000 people joining. And this question this lady is asking is the number one question we address, we take seriously in the beginning of that course. It's on the Breatheology page. It is on the top. It's when you get our free ebook. We gave it free when COVID came in March 2020. And when you download that ebook, it's in 10 different languages. So people joining from India and all these other countries can find a language maybe for them. French, Italian, Portuguese, Chinese. There was one from China. We have it in Chinese. In Chinese, you say, hu, qi, hu, shi, means breathing. Hu, shi. I was doing TV in China many years ago for a crazy show. But bottom line is when you go there and get the free ebook, it's a PDF so everyone can read it like on their phone. Then they also get a breath training in Corona crisis. And the number one exercise, I deal a bit more specifically with this question, how do you mentally become calm in any stressful situation? So they can go and see some more exercises there, and Fantastic. They are absolutely free. They don't have to do anything. They come with the book naturally.
No, that's wonderful. I'm going to jump into the live questions a bit now and see what we have got. We've got lots of hellos here. Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
Anything that pops up.
Yeah. Is there a special breathing technique to help better sleep deeper and longer? And that was from Bob and Fran. Good question, Bob and Fran.
That is a good question, especially since more and more people are having trouble sleeping or having even sleep apnea. Two parts to that question. The first thing is that if you don't have good breathing at daytime, what do you think the chances of having good sleep at nighttime? Like you magically wake up and then everything is balanced? No. So I am absolutely certain, without having seen, I haven't conducted any scientific studies on that specific area. But if you have poor breathing, improper breathing, unbalanced breathing, untrained breathing, unconscious breathing, all day long, what do you think happens at night? It just continues on this bad habit. So in the book Breatheology, we talk about good habits and bad habits. And this is certainly a bad habit. And it's actually kind of not your fault or people watching. It's just not normal in our society, in our advanced, modern, technical society, that we talk about how the body works. Like you mentioned in the beginning, I have a PhD in medicine. I have a master's degree in biology, neurophysiology, human physiology. My brother is a head surgeon. My sister is a nurse. We have never been taught about how the body works. How do you work the body? Right? It's almost the same when you go to the gym. Going back to the stressful breathing, when you inhale, your coach will tell you while you're lifting the weights, breathe, breathe. But not many coaches will take the next step and tell you, breathe in when you're lifting, hold the tension, use your diaphragm as a powerhouse. Use the back muscles to strengthen your core so you don't get injuries. And then on the explosion or on the movement, exhale with resistance. We know it in martial arts. And we also know it from MMA and boxing and all that. But that sound is no joke. It's to give power. So if you just gave the air out without a sound, people can try it at home. You would bend, first of all, if you get punched in the gut, you would just fall down. But if you're trying to weight lift or move some force and you're not protecting your lower back and your spine, you're completely setting yourself up for failure. So my point is that even though you tell someone to breathe, it would be the same as I tell you, Mike, you said you're not a good swimmer. You come here to Dubai, we jump in my pool, which is right there, and I tell you, swim.
Yeah.
It's nonsense. You have to describe how and why, and the arms
practice.
First, and then you relax your neck and don't tighten your muscles in your throat when you're swimming. Be fluid like the water.
Yes.
So that's kind of what I think. So if you do normal breathing with consciousness at daytime, at the office for 2 minutes, we're not talking any ninja techniques here. Just sitting down, kind of back to this lady's question, breathing from the nose, being aware of breathing, sensing this cool air hitting your nostrils, coming up in the upper part of your nose where it's filtered and cleansed. Then your brain starts to register, wow, now my body is doing the right work. It's breathing and almost coming up into the brain, so it registers this movement. People have to realize every time you breathe in, the brain moves and then it stops. And then when you breathe out, it moves again. So it's like a little baby you're rocking, right? It's like a little baby.
Yeah.
The brain floating in the brain skull in this liquid. And then it's like, if you're breathing uneasily or with the mouth, God forbid not, your brain is like in a boxing match, getting hammered and pounded. And who can have, on the long term, peaceful thoughts and a balanced breathing rhythm linked or synchronized with your heart movement? So the heart math and all this stuff that people are also studying, like the connection and synchronicity between your breathing and the blood circulating in your body, the amount of oxygen needed for the work that you're doing, the workload.
Yes.
And then related to the CO2 that you produce, so the waste product, so to speak, the steam from the engine. How is that all linked with your breathing? And that is driven by the diaphragm that we talked about. And that is why it's so important. And we'll come back to that. We're not going to forget, you guys. That is why it's so important that it's flexible. It has endurance, stamina, and it has strength for those explosive, whether it's a workout or it's a run or it's a lift, you need, or for a stream, or singing, you need that power sometimes as well. Or for some of the more how can we call them? Advanced breathing techniques. In the pranayama segment of yoga, we of course have included them also in breathology as part of the system, but they are what you would call the kriyas. So in yoga, they're more like the cleansing exercise. It's more like the more of the, you could say, a violent breathing, we can call it so. And you get very, very, it's a bit more in the Wim Hof kind of breathing.
Yes.
Kind of more, you get sweating and maybe a bit dizzy and stuff like that. But that is more advanced. And I would never encourage someone who's new to breathing to start from the get-go to go into that. In my opinion, you're overloading the nervous system. You will get maybe some negative side effects, and you might want to do too much too fast, which is never good in life. You need to respect the process.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I hope I covered some of that there.
No, that was really good. And I think, it's so funny. I did Taekwondo years ago, only very little bit, but I remember you make the noises, and I never, even just then, I just thought, I didn't know there was a purpose to that. So that makes complete sense.
And the body knows it. The body knows it. Actually, I forgot there was a part 2 to this, and it will be short, to this sleep apnea question, or better sleep. When you go to sleep and you do the warrior breath, so the ujjayi breathing, and you either use the resistance in your nose or the soft palate.
Yeah.
You can see this stuff moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can hear the sound, clack, clack, clack. That's the soft palate. This front part is hard.
Yeah.
It's the hard palate. But behind that, you have the soft palate. And that little veil, that little curtain can move up and down. And when you start to control those things, and that is a lot of the stuff we do on the instructor course, like we go really deep on the anatomy, on the connection with the ears, when you dive, when you really want to control the equalization and the eardrum and all those things, because they're connected to the breath in your inner mouth and all the sinuses in your head, all these air pockets you have. So both for daily control and for deep diving. But when you start to control all that, you can do the resistance breathing also with the nose and the inhale. So it sounds like this. And we all know how to do it on the exhale.
Yes.
We lift it because it's just when you're fogging the mirror, your glasses.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You can see my breathing. Isn't that incredible? You saw the fog, you saw the moist, that's the moist coming out from my lungs. So it's kind of seeing my breathing, visualizing that magical invisible air, but you can actually see it. So when people do that before going to sleep, you sleep much better because you're oxygenizing your body and you're turning on that vagus nerve that we tried before with the long exhale. So you're going into the sleep state, into the relaxation state. It's part of the relax on demand.
Okay.
So that's a tip. And then people could also try to tape the mouth, either for a full night or just for an hour or so, because then you will automatically switch to nose breathing. So even mouth breathers, if they tape the mouth, just some duct tape, just 10 minutes, maybe not falling asleep, but you could also sleep with it. We have had several instructors playing around with that.
Yeah, we use this. It's not really focusing on there, but we have the micropore tape, and just a little bit of that I found on the mouth. Just a little bit here is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a second tip to those people, this couple, Fran or whatever they were called, this couple.
Yeah.
Next question, guys.
Okay, so this is from Michael, who I believe has worked with you in the past. So he's put mindfulness. Holding breath helps to get very quickly into your window of tolerance. Hence, it's easy to meditate and be mindful. But it feels a bit like cheating because in mindfulness, you are supposed to simply observe what's there. What's your opinion, sir?
I think he lost me a little bit on the first part.
Yeah. What I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, what I think you're asking there is you're focusing on the breath, but in some versions of mindfulness, you shouldn't be focusing on anything. And my opinion is mindfulness takes many different forms. So for some people, it might be clear in the mind. For some people, it's focusing on the birds outside and the noises. And for some people, it's the breath. And I think he's asking, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, well, my opinion is I kind of know what it is. I had a girlfriend who was one of the first to do a psychology study on mindfulness used in corporate settings. Actually, funnily enough, when I was writing the book, the Breatheology book, which took about 2 years, 2007 till 2009, it was published in Denmark on the 5th of May, 2009. And now we have it in 10 languages here, Arabic and whatnot, 10 years later. No, mindfulness is about, very briefly speaking, about being present and accepting the current situation and the current state of the art. That is the definition of mindfulness. That you have no resistance and you tolerate things, and they so you also talk about flow sometimes. It was actually a psychological term, a psychological definition coined by Csikszentmihalyi, so Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who also happens to be a friend of mine and a world-renowned sports psychologist. He studies flow and happiness at Claremont Graduate University. I was happy to actually teach him and some of his students in breath holding on dry land when you talked about mindfulness. So I don't think that you can just say it's one thing. Like you said, Mike, it has many layers. I call breath holding meditation underwater. That is what I've coined it 15 years ago, because you are in a different frequency in your brain. And that is where I think you're very right. You can be in alpha, like in flow state, where children are, or where time disappears. Then you can hold your breath longer. So maybe that's what he referred to, this guy, Mike, that is kind of like cheating, because if time disappears, that is what you have to be good at. So imagine when I hold my breath for 20 minutes, if I had a clock and I was watching there every 30 seconds, no way I could do it. I need to go somewhere else, out of my body, to my past, to the future. I cannot be in the present moment watching the time, the human time. I need to be in a different dimension of time, a different version. So mindfulness is about acceptance and tolerance. But mindfulness can also be completely 100% absorbed and observing your body from the inside. So let me give you one exercise, which has helped me to make several world records, right?
Okay, let's do it.
We all train very hard. There are many, many brilliant freedivers, but one has to win the world championship, and that is the one who has trained the most, but also prepared the best, right? Maybe some genetics and stuff, and if you want it the most. Now, one of the things that gave me an advantage, or you could say unfair advantage, but we all could have done it, was that when I was competing in my younger years, I used a lot of different psychological tricks. So I would make jokes with the competitors and say, oh, you look a bit pale, or didn't you train for this event? Fun like that. So kind of being funny, right? And I also always had my cat, Biff. It's been in every world record, every TV program. And people were like, what is he doing with this kitty cat? It would be here or floating in the water. He has his own goggles, his own swim cap with a dolphin on it. So people thought I was a little bit crazy. You get them out of their normal focus zone. And then I would go to the pool, and I would imagine for myself that the pool was shorter than an Olympic 50-meter pool. So it was a shorter distance I had to swim, because I'm a very childish, kind of weird guy. So I would imagine, oh my goodness, I remember my last world championship where I won the 2 last golds. It was in Europe, and I went to the pool. And I would be like, oh, this is such a smaller pool than the normal one I train in, And I would kind of adapt to that mindset. And then what I also would do, and that was what I wanted to actually mention here, is with this mindset stuff, when you do a long dive especially in dynamic with the fins on this dolphin tail. I also won the world championship in that, the last one. That's the one I just did the world record in, Mike, the one in Mexico.
Yes.
And maybe we get a question on that later, but I just finished another Guinness World Record now, almost at the ripe age of 50, to inspire people, hopefully. But when you have that tail on, your legs are working a lot, and your entire core, your lower back, your abdominals, and especially your thighs as well, they completely break down from lactic acid. There is so much pain that I cannot even explain how excruciating that pain is. It's you imagining, it's all the people here watching imagining you're running a sprint, and then you have no more power, you have used all your different reserves, and you have no more oxygen, and you are totally lactic, you're totally burned out in your legs, right? But you have to keep sprinting. You just have to continue and find that fifth gear. So what I use is kind of a mindfulness. Instead of feeling sorry for myself, and I think this is a very, very great tip for everyone listening to use in their everyday life, maybe especially in these COVID lockdown times, instead of pitying myself, feeling sorry for myself, that is absolutely not going to help the situation. The excruciating pain is there. It is certainly not going to leave. So I do two things. First of all, I prepare myself and I accept it. So that is mindfulness per excellence, Before I sit down at the poolside, I have my monofin on, I put my goggles on, I do all my breathing routine to be focused and centered. I already have made an agreement with myself. I know the pain is going to come. It's going to be unbearable, especially if you're going for a new world record. You might even be going into known territory, and you're certainly going to go longer than your bodies around you because you're swimming at the same time at the World Championship in the finals. And if you're going to win the gold, you're going to continue longer than anybody else and endure more pain, but still enjoying it. So you got to be this kind of maniac psychopath that can really enjoy the pain without any SM or sadomasochistic references, anything like that.
Yeah.
And then I just accept it beforehand. So do you know what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying here? That is not an issue for me. I have 6 other guys thinking, oh, fuck, it's going to be painful. Oh my God, when I get to 180 meters or turn to 200, the pain is going to kill me. If you have any of those thoughts, you're already lost before you go in the water. You're lost to yourself.
Yes.
I absolutely park that. It's not part of my thinking pattern. It's not part of me. I'm completely relaxed because I've already dealt with that. So that's your mental preparation. Now comes the physical thing I do it's physical, mental, almost spiritual. When I go on those long dives and you go into the flow state and you completely dissolve your soul and your body and your mind and everything, then you can find this true flow state of being 100% with your purpose. So I feel like I have a silver core. I've not explained this to many. I feel I become liquid inside and I have this kind of beautiful silver shape that it's just perfection. So my definition of mindfulness, or flow, yes, to be in flow, is you become what you do. When you become what you do, you don't think about what you do. You don't judge yourself, back to judgmental, right? So there's no judgment. There's no right and wrong. There's no negative and positive, because that already brings you positive. You're already going, oh, that's good. That's a bonus. That's for me. Or negative. Oh, why did I deserve that? Why do I have pain in my legs? It's a negative. Yes. So you're already using brain cells and mental capacity and oxygen, precious oxygen in your brain that you want to use for your engine, not for your computer. So engine is my legs in this case, right? For swimming, my engine, my motor. So I instead go into the pain. I also describe it in my book, so people can download the book and see how I deal with pain and how I deal with stressful situations. I go into the pain, and then because I'm so incredibly stupid and very childish, I explore the pain like a landscape. So for me, I see kind of spiky mountain, kind of like these buildings behind me, but they're a little bit more spiky, right? So I kind of, maybe I can find another one, kind of like that blue one behind me. So I kind of go into the pain, and I see all these spikes, it's kind of like spikes, like it's really painful. This is the lactic acid. It's creating these spikes and painful signals in my leg. But I just absorb them, and I see them, and I observe them like, oh, it's a bit blue there. Oh, that's blinking. That's funny. Oh, that has a light on top. And I absolutely detach myself from that idea of pain coming to me. I just observe it as it was a painting on the wall, as if it were sitting in front of me on a TV screen, but it is not a part of my existence. It's not part of my reality. Maybe it's a little bit far-fetched. Maybe some people lost me there. I'm sorry, but I just think it's fun to go into the deep nitty-gritty stuff of
very interesting
of world-class training or mental preparation, and then performance, because I'm all about performance.
Yes.
So and one last thing to that guy because he probably is very interested in mindfulness. I had the great honor, and it's really an honor, besides of Csikszentmihalyi, who is also one of the founders of positive psychology. This new branch where you actually look at what you can do with your mind instead of all the depressing things that you looked at before where you were sick in the mind, right? So now in positive psychology, you look at the resources that you have. What can you do? Healing yourself and being positive and changing your mindset. But I also had the great fortune of meeting John Kabat-Zinn. And for those who don't know him, he is the father of modern mindfulness and mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR. It's a huge, hundreds of thousands of people have gone through it in the US. It is very famous. Have you heard about him, Mike?
No.
He's the father of modern mindfulness. I met him upstate New York. I was teaching there at some big yoga center, some big like natural place. Beautiful, beautiful place. And I've been teaching up there for a few years, like a retreat center. It's an amazing place. And I met him, and his son knew me, so I didn't need to do any introduction. He said, "You're the guy who held the breath. I saw you on Discovery Channel. You're crazy. That's amazing." And so he explained his dad who I was. And then I said, "You know what? My business partner and friend, Bjarne, he has taught me something really funny, because he's good with words and good with kind of coming up with ideas. He said, in Denmark, when we do this with corporate people, so like bankers and lawyers and from pharmaceutical companies, like really high-end performing people or high performers, high achievers, we explain to them that the breath holding, we take them to a swimming pool, put a wetsuit on them so they don't get cold, and then we put them underwater because nobody can cheat. Then everyone is equal. The secretary is equal with the director, is equal with the COO, is equal with the CTO. They're all equal, right? They have to hold their breath. They're just humans.
Yeah.
So when you do that, it's how you can control your mind. So if you go into a panic or if you go, into brain fog, you won't last long because you're burning that oxygen and then you come out. But if you can just chill and relax, then you can stay much longer. So we came up with this kind of definition. He called it in Danish, mindfulness by meter, but it doesn't make much sense. So in English, it would be mindfulness by measure. And I think one of the greatest challenges we have with modern mindfulness and with yoga and meditation for that matter, is that it's very, very difficult to measure. How do you know that you're relaxed right now? How relaxed are you?
Yes, yeah.
We can look at the pulse watch and we can measure the HRV, the heart rate variability. We can do the heart math. We can do a million things with all our fancy smartwatches and stuff, but it's still not really validating how we're feeling. How is our emotional life? How is our heart connecting with our soul and our mind and our future and our dreams and what we visualize and we dream to become, When you hold your breath, you have the most simple measure on earth, and those are seconds.
Yes.
So I told John Kabat-Zinn, actually there's a way you can measure your ability to be in mindfulness. Because when you can hold your breath a long time, it doesn't matter what technique you use, like you said, Mike, whether you think about your body or a visualization or you go to the past or the future, it's any modality. It's like breathing. You can do Wim Hof, you can do Patrick McEwen, Oxygen Advantage, you can do, God knows, there's Mackenzie, Brian. There's so many great people knowing a lot about breathing, and they choose their 3 to 5 main exercises. That's their go-to, one size fits all kind of what they do. And you can use these exercises for different purposes in life and different times. But when you hold your breath, it is absolutely 100% certain that we all become the same. And the longer you can hold your breath, it means you can hold your focus.
Yes.
So I told Kabat-Zinn, when you hold your breath, it's kind of a measure directly on your ability to be in mindfulness.
Yes.
So I hope that friend who asked this question 20 minutes ago, I'm sorry if you got a tsunami hitting you, but
no, it's good information, Stig. So so we're at 10 to 6 now. So how are you doing for time? You got a bit more time? We can keep going. I think
I have time.
Yeah,
I've
got time. So
we should do a few exercises just to show people that we promised. And then maybe you should take 1 or 2 questions, because we did have a lot of questions on the instructor program.
We've got a lot of questions, yeah.
So maybe take 2 or 3 of those, and then I do some exercises. So we open up. So again, for those who just joined, I'm sure, what are we at now? Can you see if there are a few more people that came on?
Or 200 people.
Yeah, so 100 more joined. So maybe people didn't join from the beginning. So I'm Stig Severinsen, founder of Breatheology. At the other end of the main controller is the magnificent Mike Mayer. And he's interviewing me, but now I should interview him also. So we want to know about you. So let's just say that I ask you 1 question, and then we can go to the instructor program that opens in 1 week.
Okay.
The Breatheology instructor program that, we can talk about that in the end. But I would like to know, Mike, what exactly was it? Like, you can just very briefly describe your background, like where do you come from? Your education or your business background. And then why suddenly on earth would you start being so passionate about breathing that you start putting lungs on your shelf behind you, and you have on-air neon signs and all kinds of funny stuff?
Yeah.
What happened?
It's been a crazy 4 years for me, absolutely crazy. So I was in a long-term relationship that ended, and went through a big life change, and was a bit lost. If I'm really honest, I was a bit lost, and I was listening to Joe Rogan, and this crazy Dutch athlete was on there called Wim Hof, and I don't know what happened, but something inside me said, I need to go and see this man, because not for the breathing, but for the cold, because I was not, as I said to you at the start of this, not a very good swimmer. And we used to go on holiday, and I couldn't get into the sea and I couldn't get into the pool because it was too cold. And I was like, something says I need to go and see this man. And I went on Google. He had a few spaces left. This was July 2016, or maybe a little bit later. And in November 2016, I flew to Poland and I spent a week. And on the first day, we went down in a group of 20 and we just started. We did this big breathing exercise. I didn't even know what a breathing exercise was. We breathe in, we breathe out. What the hell? Yeah. And I felt all sorts of things. And I spent 5-6 days with Wim and his team and these wonderful people. And I experienced so many things, Stig. I went through a big emotional release, lots of emotion, lots of tears, lots of crying. All of us did in the group, and then laughter. And so I walked away from that week, climbing a mountain in my shorts, jumping into freezing cold water, doing these breathing exercises. We did the breathing exercises for maybe 90 minutes. And I saw some incredible, I've never done any crazy drugs, but I imagine that's what this was like. I saw some crazy visuals, and it really was the start of my life changing. So I got back, and people probably don't know this. I spent 10 years as a wedding videographer. My degree is in film production. So I've been to, 50 weddings. So I've seen every type of wedding that you can have. So I have the skills to edit video and audio and all that sort of stuff. And nobody was really having many breathing exercises on YouTube back then. So I put a couple on and just kind of forgot about it. And then, the channel started to grow. And I put a few more on. I quit my job. I went traveling around the world with my girlfriend, and I had a little bit of time, so I made a few more exercises. Okay, it's interesting. And then I started to learn more. And then really for me, the big transition, I guess, was I've experienced the feeling of breathing, but I don't really understand too much of the science. And let's be honest, I don't have your level. You've got PhDs in biology, but I did study under Patrick McEwen twice. And I've done some work with Soma. I'm working on some Soma stuff. And so as the lockdown happened last March, I thought, I've got a little bit of time now. I want to learn some more of the science. And then I got really lucky because Patrick mentioned to me James Nestor. And I contacted James, said, I'm thinking of doing a podcast. And James said, sure, get me on. And that went to 125,000 views. And yeah, so there's a podcast. And so for me, I think it's just this thing around, I feel so good when I breathe. I was a mouth breather for many years. I used to weigh a lot more. My physical exercise has been bad. My back has had lots of problems. And slowly now I'm starting to use the power of the breath to kind of get my core stronger, heal my back. It's good for mindfulness for me. And at the same time, I just really enjoy talking about breath with people because it's free, it's simple, and so many people do it wrong. And it's like, mouth breathing, not using the diaphragm properly. So that's me. I guess I'm on my own journey, and I just love learning more about breath. If you'd asked me 10 years ago, I would not have known anything 5 years ago about breathing and breath work. So it's been a really crazy 4 years for me. But that's a mini version of my story.
No, that's a great journey. And I think many people can relate both to this with the emotional release and storing so much, we can call it trauma or past incidences or things that we don't deal with. And that's where the breathing is magical, because it in its own soft way loosens those very, very difficult knots that are typically sitting around the diaphragm in the solar plexus. So right here.
And so what's going on there? Why do we store stuff there, Stig? Why is there emotion connected to that?
The solar plexus, solar means radiating like the sun, solar plexus is a network, and then solar is something radiating. So this is where all the nerve endings and everything is kind of meeting up. From our nervous system, we also have the venous, the return blood coming from all our body, coming up here, all the way up here. So all the connection to the ground and all the venous blood it's all the old blood, the used blood with less oxygen comes back to the heart, pumped into the lung. We breathe, fresh air goes in, shoots up to the brain. So fresh oxygenized, it's called arterial blood. So the the fresh blood, we can call it, with the freshly oxygenized hemoglobin, the little proteins that bind 4 oxygen on each. It's like a car, you know, with 4 little wheels driving around the body. So we start here, but then when we start to do breathing exercises, we can physically and physiologically touch those, you know, massage those areas that we never knew about. And with proper breathing, we switch from the mouth or from the shoulders, from the chest, and go to the belly. So we start having better absorption of the nutrients. We start to massage the inner organs. That's why we start to lose belly fat, and then we get more lean. We start to change our habits, so we eat more healthy. We're not as drawn to the sugars and the fats and the bubbly sugary water and the soda and candy and stuff like that, like more unhealthy food. And then almost unconsciously and consciously maybe, but we start to make better decisions. And it's like we talked about in the beginning of this conversation, it's the compound effect. So when you start eating a little bit more healthy every day, you know, you start to lose weight. And then you have this effect over 1 week, 2 weeks, 12 weeks, 8 weeks, 6 months, and you're a different person. And you literally are, you know, we're all changing our skin, and, you know, the cells are changing. So we become new versions of ourselves. We probably have a spiritual, you know, inner core that's not changing, our values, our ethics, and so forth. But our skin and our hair, you know, and our whatever nails are growing out and being renewed. Our blood is renewed every 3 months. So there's even a cycle there. And when you start doing breath holding and training, you actually produce more EPO, erythropoietin. I call it natural doping. I describe it a lot in my book. So that is how I also have trained a lot of cyclists in the Tour de France and riders for the Olympics and stuff like that, many different athletes, to boost their blood with normal EPO. So EPO, erythropoietin, so a hormone that's produced in the body naturally, but also a lot of people, you know, cheating. Maybe not so much anymore, but you can do it naturally from breath holding. You don't have to go to high altitude training or oxygen chambers, hyperbaric chambers. You can also go in depth or holding your breath on your couch at home, but not many people know this. And we have done a lot of research in the last 20 years with the finest doctors and research teams around the world on that. So it simply means that you get a better blood quality. Also, you become more resilient. So with blood quality, I mean more hemoglobin, more red blood cells.
Yes.
So more oxygen. You get more higher octane blood. It makes you stronger. You have more resilience to stress. You have more strength and power in your sport you're lifting. But you also avoid becoming sick because you become strong and your immune system is boosted. So there are many benefits that come with breathing and with loosening up all those traumas and tightness you have. So imagine if you have, okay, so let's get to just a few exercises, right? So let's say you have a very tight, I take this off, okay. Let's say you have a very tight diaphragm, right? So when you're breathing, it's not really moving, right? It's not really moving because you're breathing up here. So this is just tight, but as soon as you start to you know, you have all these little things you can move around, and you can do all the you can work in so many different areas. Then it opens from the inside out, and that's where those traumas are released because it's in your nervous system.
Yeah.
You know, and then it comes like it's a massage from the inside. And since we're here, and I'm sitting here like an idiot, I'll show one of the exercises that many, many people ask me about. So how do I chain the diaphragm, and how do I chain my chest and my breathing in general? One of the best exercises is this old, absolutely free, holds and all dinged up a bicycle tube. It's 2 tubes I put together in the middle like that. You take the tube because it is elastic and it's very tough, and you put it as hard as you can here. I also describe this in the book so people can see it, and you can use your hands. And then I breathe. Hold a pause, and then I inhale, hold a pause, and exhale. And I can do it higher. I can do it also on the diaphragm, on the solar plexus. But again, be gentle to yourself. This is, I called it the snake just because I'm kind of a joker, you know. You can also do the Tarzan, which you just use your hands. I describe all these exercises in the book, so people can just download the book on our website, breatheology.com. But here I push on the inhale and just help the exhale. Push on the inhale. And you strengthen your intercostal muscles, those little things like rubber bands that are going between the ribs.
Mm-hmm.
And when they are stronger, your breathing becomes better. At night, you breathe better, you sleep better. Other stuff that I do is this. Now it's going to be funny how much I can put my legs up there, but I have these little handles, and then I do different breathing exercises okay, so we got to let go of this one. Hold on. I'll show you something crazy. I'll show you guys something crazy.
Don't drop your laptop. So you can see
what can also happen. Look at this crazy shit.
What's going on here?
That's a crazy motherfucking cramp that you have never seen the size of. Because
oh, wow.
I'll stretch it out now.
What's happened there, Stig?
It's painful, so I'll smile and I'll get it out, and we'll see when I massage. It's huge. It's bigger than 2 fingers.
Jeez.
It's because I was wakeboarding all day and I was doing some tough exercise this morning for the belly. Now it's gone.
So that's the diaphragm cramping, is it?
No, it's the muscles in front here from the abdominal ridge, but now it's gone.
Ooh.
I'm soft again. Just working hazards of a world champion. What I wanted to show people was I have to take this off. That was a problem.
Yeah, go for it.
I hope you can hear me. So what I do is I use these and I do things like this. And do breathing. And then I actually come up here. And I don't know how much people can watch, but it's coming back now because it's absolutely crazy and it's excruciating.
Oh, stop it, Stig.
And there it's gone.
Oh, geez.
I got to get up again. It's because I've, of course, been too dehydrated. I've been at sea all day. And then I did some crazy workout this morning with the diaphragm. So
let's not do any more.
I'm an old man. That's all we can conclude.
You're not an old man.
I'm an old man.
Oh my God.
But anyways, I hope people got some inspiration to start working with the diaphragm, to lifting it up like this.
Yeah. Oh God. Don't
up
do
and down.
But
when you do that, you should hold your breath. That's the people. They breathe and then they can't. So you breathe out and then you close your throat. And then you just lift it up and down.
Okay, this is live internet, people. So just to clarify, that sticking out is not to do with the breathing exercises. That's something else, is it? Because people might be watching this now.
It was a cramp. It was a
crazy
cramp.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Okay, so just go easy with these exercises. But
I'm back here. Sorry, I was wakeboarding all afternoon. So I've been in I'm here in Dubai. I'm in, it's in the desert, even though I was at sea. So I'm dehydrated. I didn't hydrate enough.
So Stig, somebody's just asked, I get that cramp too in the exact spot. What can I do to get rid of it quickly? So
drink water. Oh, what you can do is what you like me, you learn to know your body and you stretch the right when you find where it is and then you counter stretch. But again, it's also in your mind, like the pain I said before. Don't work against it. Don't work against it. Then it starts to keep sitting there. Just let it go in your mind. Let's go of the pain. Laugh the pain off. Like, it's nothing. Making jokes with yourself.
That's good.
And then find the right place to stretch it. It's like when you have a stretch in your calf. Mm-hmm. You also find the right place to put your leg, and then you step into it, but you don't push too much. You just find that right balance when you've been running and also dehydrated, maybe from a hot summer day, and then you find the right pressure, and then you feel the release. It lets go. And then eat banana, of course. Get potassium.
Okay.
Eat bananas. I have bananas over here in my stash. Anyways, we came through. I survived.
You survived. You did. Okay. So I think, we had a couple of questions about the course. I know the course is going live next week. Somebody's asked how much time it takes to do.
Great question. So first of all, the Breatheology instructor course, we've run it for 3 years now. It's a very in-depth training program. It runs for 2 months. And the new thing that we spoke about, Mike, also with your audience last time, was that the new thing is obviously that it's all virtual now. It's all online, which means anyone can join, because no matter where you live in the world, you don't have to travel. Before, you had to come to Denmark usually, or Italy, the last course. But normally Denmark, we had a beautiful kind of a palace, a wonderful place where people came for 3 or 4 days, and we had all the physical bonding and we did all the exercises. And I test all the students because they're becoming certified breathology instructors to go and start their own business. And whether they're doctors or psychologists or like you know, just very fascinated with breathing, or maybe they're business coaches or physical trainers, you know, sports trainers, or maybe people that are working in yoga or mindfulness or therapy. There are many, many different people, all walks of life.
Yes.
But when they come, I test them and we have exams, and I see the diaphragm moving. I want to see them move the diaphragm, because if they're going to go and teach these exercises, we have various different, you know, levels of exercises and difficulties, and the method of breathology with the soft approach and hard approach. For PTSD, for people with trauma, you have one set of exercises, you have one way of dealing with it. With the military and sports people and bankers, high achievers, you do it with the hard approach. So it's a different thing when I train the Navy SEALs and stuff like that. So people need to distinguish when to use what for, you know, which person. So it's very individualized. But now it's all virtual, so everyone can join. And when you join now, you also get our fundamentals that you have been on, Mike, the basic program, we can call it, that is 12 weeks. And then you also get our newest program, which is the advanced, which we use for the Navy SEALs and elite athletes and stuff. But anyone can join and just do it to their level. So the short answer is it's 2 months now, starting next Sunday. And in 2 months, you'll be a certified breathology instructor, can partner with us, can start your own business, or just have it as a complement to already being a physiotherapist or a dentist, or people use it in many different ways to calm down their patients. I had a guy from one of the biggest pharmacies in Denmark now, who I think is joining this time, and he wants to use it because they're giving now vaccines for COVID. So he wants to use breathing, especially with older people, to calm them down and show them some specific exercises. And he told me, I don't just want to be, you know, showing any exercise. I want the best 2 or 3 exercises, and I want to understand how they work and why they work. So it may be an example of how many ways you can use breathing to, you know, add it to your already existing business and to help your customers. Yeah, so 2 months online is the short answer, and we start next Sunday. And like you said, people can look down below. You put a link to the direct.
I'll put a link below, and you've done a little special gift, I believe, if people.
Yeah, well, that was something we talked about, but people actually get both the fundamentals program and the advanced, which is $1,500 already, and then they get the global virtual summit for free as well. So that's $2,000 we have shaved off, and then because it's you, we give them $500 off on top of that. So it's like half the price of what it used to be in the old days.
Wonderful.
But anyways, people should just know, if they have more questions and they click the link, they're not buying anything, they're not obligating to anything. But we would love for people to inquire more if they think this is the right time. We're sitting at lockdown; it's a perfect time to learn more. Or they can use it as a physiotherapist or a doctor, and they can just, you know, deduct it from their normal expenses. But just write our team at support@breathology.com. You know, if you have anything, you can set up a meeting. We're happy to give a 15-minute conversation with our team to explain if it's something that you could use now and how it can help you in your business. So if they're clicking the link, nothing's going to happen. They're not going to be charged any money or anything like that. So it's just better to use your link, so we know they came from you. That's the point to make.
Yeah, wonderful. No, wonderful. Thank you for that. It's really, really appreciated. And hopefully, you know, a few people that may be thinking about it, because I know it was a bit more expensive, or a lot more expensive last year because it was in person and that sort of thing. So I'm just quickly whizzing through the questions. I'm conscious of time. Breathing for migraines and high blood pressure.
Oh, yeah, big question. I think migraines, that's a big topic, but also with the high blood pressure, you know, the normal medicine is that you get statins, right? You get some drug and then all is fine. But the key is to look at the root cause of hypertension or high blood pressure. And that is very usually linked to uneven breathing. And it's actually what I already talked about like 20 minutes ago. When you're breathing, is not synchronized with your heart rate, which is not synchronized with the expenditure or the usage of oxygen in your body, then you can only do two things to compensate. You can breathe more heavily, so that becomes hyperventilating or hyperventilation. That is what many, many people do on a daily level. I tend to tell the world, or have this picture, that the world, so it means people, but the world is in an eternal oxygen debt. I've talked about it on a live webinar we did one time, and I think we wrote something about it in an article. By the way, on breathology.com, there are lots of free articles and free programs. You don't have to buy stuff. You can start for free and just see what else is enticing you. No, but with the hypertension, I think that's one of the main, I don't know if I want to say mistakes, or maybe not the most optimal approach to help people with better health, when you can actually change so much from breathing, from yoga, going into your relaxed state. And we're in this internal oxygen deficit. You know, we're owing oxygen to our body because we're hyperventilating, and migraines and headaches in general are also related with a lot of tension in the neck, in the shoulder region. So when you learn to do these little simple breathing exercises, we have one we call the Albatross. By the way, as an instructor, you become qualified and certified in all the exercises in breathology. So you can teach them to other people. That's the idea. If people understand why it means certified, you are certified and get a certificate from us that you are qualified to go and teach people, whether it's in a nursing home or a police station or military. You are certified and you have the level and the skills to teach these exercises in a meaningful way. So maybe that sums up better what people can use it for. Some use it for themselves, but many people use it to improve the daily care of their patients or clients, okay? But with...
Still got you. I can still see you. Can you still see me?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, there you are. Something popped up here on my screen. I got a shock. So in brief, we should use breathing. It's just in general for all diseases and any diseases.
Yeah.
We don't, in breathology, and nor you, Mike, we don't promise to cure or prevent or diagnose or anything like that. That's kind of this US bullshit thing you have to say. But we certainly want to encourage people to again take control of their health back to themselves. Use breathing to calm down your nervous system. When you're calm and in rest and digest, the body can produce the white blood cells, the warriors that run in your blood and wage war on the different things that come into your system: bacteria, virus or vira in plural, fungus, you know, all this stuff that comes in from the external environment. You can call them microbes in general, stuff that come into your body. You need to fight that. If you're running around stressed and there's a lion chasing you and you produce adrenaline, you only think about running. So you're in fight and flight mode. And that is what people are in most of the time. And that's why they hyperventilate. That's why they're not synced with the body, because they don't know their body. They've never been taught how to use the body, like we talked about. They know about the body, but they don't know how to drive the engine. They don't know how to drive the body. And then, of course, it brings migraine and headaches, or it can bring those side effects from tension in your neck. And you can reverse all that and also lower your blood pressure, of course, from different dietary changes and stuff like that, but mainly from being aware of how you breathe and calm down the breath. So we are back to what I said in the first 5 minutes. I used to say to people, the key to relaxation is in the exhalation. I can say that again. It's also in my book, and I say it everywhere when I do lectures around the world. The key to relaxation is in the exhalation.
Yes.
That is where you let go. That is where the diaphragm comes home to the upper part up here and rests in a relaxed, neutral state. So there's no tension in your upper body. That also means your neck can relax, your mind can relax, and your soul or spirit can relax. So all those things coming together, breathing in a controlled way, in a relaxed way, slow exhale. You know, the 1-2 breath is what I would advise everyone with headaches or migraine or with anxiety or fear. 1-2 breathing is just that you double the exhale. So it's not complicated. So if you breathe in for 3 seconds, you make a slight pause, very important. There's not just in and out. That's stressful breathing. You have 4 phases in breathing, and all that stuff will teach you as an instructor. Obviously, you learn all the depth of breathing. Whether it's for yourself or for your parents or a sick child or whatever it's for, you will learn these skills. So breathing is 4-phased. First, A little pause, actually, and then inhale, slight pause, and then comes the key, the exhalation. A letting go breath, as our friend Dan Brulé would say, right? And then you relax the shoulders and your blood pressure drops. When you breathe in, heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up. You can just measure this shit. Don't believe me if you don't, You can put your pulse watch on when there's pressure in your chest. Heart rate goes, and blood pressure goes up, because you can look at my chest. Of course, the blood pressure, it's liquid. Blood is just water. Kind of water. So the blood pressure goes up. When you relax, pressure goes down, literally. Also in your brain and in your cardiac artery, in the main artery here, the place where the blood and the nutrients run to the brain. So long story short, use breathing much more to advantage. Use it naturally as it was meant to be. See if you can skip some of the medicine. I'm not advising that. I'm just suggesting people could look into that.
Talk to your doctor.
I mean statins and all that. Don't go to the doctor all the time. They just give you more medicine. But that's kind of how they run their business, right? The more sick you are, the more clients they have. I also write that in the book, in Breatheology. We should get back to the Chinese system. It's wrong, the whole system with pharmaceutical products and doctors. Right? The more sick you are, the more money the doctors make or the pharmaceutical companies make, right? That's a fact. The more sick you are, the more you come back, the more medicine you get, the more you're like, if you have asthma or allergies, you can cure that yourself in many instances with breathing, Buteyko and so forth. I healed and cured myself from severe asthma as a child. Today I'm a 4-time freediving world champion. It can happen. I have 14 liters lung capacity. You can expand your vital capacity with many of the exercises I've been showing today. But if you read a medical book and become a doctor, they tell you cannot increase your vital capacity. You can look up in any book. So science is also old-fashioned. Science is slow, and it's just learning. It's a learning process. So with breathing, you can do so many amazing things. And why is it reversed in the medical field? You should be paid as the Chinese doctors for patients that don't come to you. So if you could avoid having any patients coming to you, you should be paid a high salary, because then you gave good advice on whatever it was, diet or exercise or breathing or mindfulness or maybe all of the above. The natural healing, the natural way of being healthy, now we call that alternative medicine. When the hell did nature become second best and the pharmaceutical that are chemical artificial products, when did they become number one? It's a mindset thing in society, that we call something alternative, like it's voodoo or woo-woo or something, but it was always there for us in nature. And I think what you're passionate about and what I'm certainly on fire about is to make the world breathe better. That's our tagline in Breatheology, making the world breathe better.
Absolutely.
And that means both better thinking, better decision making, more oxygen to your brain. Maybe back to this lady with the COVID brain fog. We all have difficulties and challenges now. How can we take control, get the most amount of oxygen, open the brain, go into flow state, do things we love, open the different areas of the brain that happen in alpha state or delta or gamma or all these meditation states you talked about before, all these different layers, and then become the best version of ourselves and the most free person in our soul, body, and spirit, and mind. How can we do that? We can do that from breathing. So don't get me wrong. Don't think that I'm against all drugs and don't go to see the doctor. I'm just putting it a bit black and white here, because we certainly need a shift, a mindset shift in the world. It's very needed for everyone watching here. If they can join our mission of just telling people about becoming more aware of how they breathe and how it tells you if your breathing is uneasy, that you're stressed, or if you actually take control back, then you can change so many habits in your life.
Beautiful.
And you become aware of it. You become aware. And you know how many times we breathe per day? Let's see people in the chat here. Not you, because you know it, Mike. You're an expert. Let people put in the chat. I know there's a delay of 10, 15 seconds. How many times do we breathe per day? The breath of life, the breath of life in and out of your body, taking oxygen, giving CO2 to the plants, to the rainforest. How many times per day are you living life? Are you breathing life? Are the numbers coming now?
Not quite yet, no.
It's 20 seconds delay maybe.
There's about 20 seconds, I think, yeah.
But then
Michael says 20,000. I'm just waiting to see if anybody else comes in.
He cheated. He read the book. But that's right. 20 to 25, 30,000 times per day.
21,600.
Yeah,
Anna Mitra said.
That's accountant doing all the calculations per minute, per hour, per, yeah. But the point is, it's a lot of breathing. And if we can optimize every single breath, we can become the strongest, best version of ourselves. We can stay healthy. I'm never sick, and I'm not no Superman. I just stay very strong and healthy because I'm natural. I'm not Superman, you know. I just use my body to the optimal things that it can do, training my lungs, training my heart, staying in shape. But I'm not a training freak. You see, I had a cramp. You know, I'm not Superman.
Yeah, all human.
I'm just human.
Yeah. So Stig, I think there are so many questions we're not going to get to today. So we're going to have to, I'm going to have to bring you back for another one. We're going to have to do another one at some point in the future.
Let's give people a break. But what we can do is offer some of the questions, and you can probably go on YouTube. You are very smart in breathing. You can answer some of them to get the engagement and to honor people that stayed on here. And maybe some of them are deeper or more personal, related to me or to the Breatheology training. Send those over to my team at Breatheology. Rory and those guys are brilliant. And either they can answer or I can answer, because you've been so kind to put this up 2 weeks in a row. I'll be happy to take some time of my busy, crazy life down here and all the stuff that I'm running around doing, and then give them personal answers. Either you can put them on YouTube, Mike. I'll be happy to do that. Which I don't usually do because I don't take so much time off all this personal stuff. But also, if people have more questions related to the specific certification that we start next week, better they write the support team. And it's just support@breatheology.com, but they can find it on the website.
I will put the link. The link's below, and I think if you click on that, it takes you there. So I think to close, we'll just do a bit of a quick close, and then would you just guide us through maybe 1 minute's worth of relaxed breathing, because I want to hear your voice. I want you to guide me. So just before we do that then, so for me, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. And thank you for getting the live stream going as well, because as I said, I don't know if I would have done this for another 6 months or a year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I don't know how I figured out the technology. I was up late last night trying to work out how the heck do I connect Zoom to YouTube? Oh my God. And I want to say a big thank you to everybody that's been watching and all the questions. There's so many questions. So we'll pull those away, and I'll figure out a way to get some answers to you guys, maybe some future videos as well. And as I said, Stig's link to the Breatheology website, the course with the discount is below. If people are interested in doing that, then go and check that out. Stig, any last messages from you before we do a breathing exercise?
No, just want to thank you. You have done a brilliant work. I think it's great to come out of your comfort zone, you go live and you figure out the technology. And if we don't challenge ourselves on a daily basis and put one foot in front of the other, we're never going to advance. We're not going to advance as individuals, as humans, but also not as a human race. And there's never been a time in our lives, I don't know, people watching are probably between 20 and 70 or 80 years old. In this long lifetime, I'm soon 50, so I have century. It's never been more important that we start to value our freedom. We start to ask critical questions about governments and about drugs and about taking responsibility of our own health, taking it back, since many people obviously not having our best interest or have different interests. Let's put it that way. So that's all I will say. And then I will thank every single one for taking the time. For the future viewers that are going to see this video the next week, years, we're in 2021 now, but in 10 years, people are going to be watching this as well. On YouTube, they find it and come back. Oh, this was during this crazy COVID time. Oh my goodness, look where we are now. And then we should do an exercise together. So that brings me to the most important topic of today, that breathing connects us all. We're all united and connected through breathing. And I've said in other live shows, but the breathing in me is the breathing in you. And not just you, Mike, but you out there watching me and my breath here in Dubai, from the desert, from the sheikhs, from the thousands of years back in all the history that has been here in this region, right? In the Middle East. And that breath in me goes into you because my energy comes into you. My voice is riding on my air, on my breath, and my meaning and my passion and my soul and spirit is traveling to you in frequencies of the voice and in energy vibration. So the breath unites us all. And when we're together in a room, which we hardly allowed now by any governments, we can breathe together. We can't see each other. We can't even hug each other. The drug of life is hugging and being in love and loving life and loving each other, caring for each other. This physical contact, we're social creatures. But when we do that and we're in the same room, the breathing affects people around us because they feel your energy And I'm again not talking voodoo energy. I'm talking about the electromagnetic field around your heart, about the fragrance or the smell of your stress hormones. On a subconscious level, we know all this about each other. If you have a stressful day or you are having a fearful day, you're having this bad smell of your sweat, under your armpits and stuff. And if you're running and you're healthy, you just have clean sweat. All these things, we pick up on that subconsciously. Our prime brain and our primal senses are very, very fine tuned to those things, but we don't understand how to interpret them or how to listen to them in many cases. So with breathing through this mirror, maybe just to wrap up, and one last shout out to the Breatheology Instructor Program, right? You can absolutely coach online. Your breathing, and it also goes not for breath training, but for sales calls and for selling products online or on phone calls. The way you breathe is the way you feel, but it's also the way you make other people feel. So if you're centered around your breathing, you know what you're doing with your breathing. It's a trained breath. It's a smooth breath. It's a calming breath. Then people trust you. And trust is the number one reason people buy. So when people ask you, Mike, which iPhone did you get? You go, oh, I got the new iPhone 12. Which one, the mini or the Magnum? I was going to say the big one. Oh, I got the large one. It says it has better battery. You get that one. When you trust your people, your friends, your peers, you listen to them. So if you can create a bond of trust through breathing, there's so much you can do. So maybe let's do one exercise where we all breathe together.
Let's do it. Yes,
in
please.
honor of your wonderful Take a Deep Breath podcast and your video channel and everything that's just growing. And then just to honor the breath in all of us that has come before us, sitting on our shoulders from our ancestors. That breath is still in us in many different ways. And it will be in the future because the air goes out to the cosmos, to the atmosphere, comes back as rain into the ocean. CO2 is absorbed, more oxygen is produced. The sun is shining on the plants. They produce oxygen for us. We all live in ever happy, symbiotic relationship, right?
Yeah. We're breathing the air the dinosaurs breathed.
We are, and it's true, it's not going away.
Cool. Yeah.
The energy is kind of like oxygen energy is the same. It can change form and shape, but it's not going away, it's constant. So let's breathe the 1-2 breathing that we just talked about.
Fantastic.
And it's very simple. If you've never done breathing before, sit in a comfortable position, like Mike on a chair, or even if you're lying in bed listening to this, maybe in the future, maybe you're not on live. It's about relaxation. So it's always about relaxation. Relax your mind, relax your shoulders, relax your tongue in your mouth, relax your jawbone, like this big straw line here and those chewing muscles. You can even do a little bit like this and look funny, just to feel that you're opening. And then your shoulders, you can take up once or twice and let go one more time. Because then you feel the difference between tension and this openness. You might even feel warmness. I felt the blood starting to flow now in my shoulder muscles and the neck muscles. And then we do the breathing together. And breathing, according to me and Breatheology, has 4 phases. Never forget that. Maybe that's not a random thing that my lucky number is 4. It's a beautiful square number. So we breathe in with the nose. We smile. We hold the breath while it's landing on the top. And then we exhale with double the time. So we say, that was about 8-10 seconds, and we land in the valley. We land. And now we start again. So the nose is for breathing, the mouth is for eating. So inhale slowly from the belly. That means with the diaphragm. And then you land on the top, kind of like my round bald head here. And then you start going down. And you land again. Land softly, the moon landing. Cat paw landing. And then you start again, coming up, breathing. And you land on the top and you hold it and you feel that natural pause that is natural to you, whether it's 1 second or 3 seconds or 5 seconds. When you're ready, like I see Mike here, he's about ready, and then he lets go of the shoulders, of the sound. And that concludes our breathing session together. Feel how your body is feeling Go into your shoulders now. Feel this openness. Imagine if you could do that at your office before you're having a job interview, before this difficult conversation with someone in your life that you know you needed to have for many years. Coming prepared from your best relaxed state, from not being afraid or being in fear or being angry, being upset, coming from your best beautiful self, starting a conversation can just change your life in so many ways. So my little cat Biff here says thank you and namaste.
Namaste.
And it kind of means I see the light in you and salute the light and the life in you that is also in me, so the life force. And let's all breathe more of this prana, the life energy, or the universal energy together, and share this wonderful message of becoming more conscious of breath work and spread it to everyone who wants to listen, just like Mike is doing with the podcast. Anyone who wants to listen, you welcome them.
Fantastic. Stig, once again, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you. We ran over by half an hour, and I think that's fantastic. And there's so much more to cover. So guys, until next time, thank you so much for watching. Take a deep breath. Links below for Stig's information. And have a lovely rest of your weekend, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, every single person here for joining and for any future ones. Breathe.
Breathe. Okay. Bye-bye.